most awesome Sims 2 fans, and welcome back to another renovation slash build, which you'll understand shortly. Today, we're going to be working on the Pleasant View community pool. And the first thing I'm going to do is lop off the roof. To be honest, I have tried to renovate this pool several times. Mostly, I want to put a gym in here because we don't have a gym in Pleasant View. This is my Uberville, which we'll talk about at some point. I'm going to release a video about the Uberville. And I never save my progress because I always hate how it looks. But this time around, I decided let's enclose everything, make it 2 stories. My big issue with this pool is it's too narrow. If you're trying to make a room and you're doing something, very little gets done in there because really it should come out to the railings that you see in the back. It really does need that amount of space. So my thought process here was, let's enclose the whole thing. Once I get on the inside, we will use all the area in these weird little pillars that Max has created here. And we're just gonna open the whole thing up on the inside. And you see me kind of doing a little bit of overlaps on the top. And I figured let's do 2 stories and it could maybe be a spa. I did start looking at pictures of YMCAs because I'm thinking, let's get the whole family involved. You could bring the whole family to this pool. It's the only thing here. I mean, it came with the original Pleasant View. So here's a picture of one of the Ys that I liked, and I'm kind of working with that. I like that it's done a little bit older. It's kind of, you know, retro. Nifty. So that's kind of where my headspace is. I want to do something nifty and retro here. I think that could possibly work and do at least 2 stories. And I think we could fit in everything that we would want to do. You could have something for the whole family here. So I'm finally coming around here. We've got everything going and okay, it's working for me. I'm cutting a lot of this out because I kept messing with some of the shapes here. I wanted to make it kind of neat and 60s style. And I must have fooled with roofs and this area right here. I cut it in, I cut it out. As far as, do I do a setback here? So you are going to see a little tiny bit of what I did, just enough to show you that it wasn't working. And so I did cut a large portion of this out, only to end up doing a flat roof, which you're gonna see. If you're liking my content, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm also happy for any build recommendations, or if you have tips and tricks. Here's a flat roof that I promised you. Once I get finished with it though, it did look super flat to me. I did like that it was overhanging. You're going to see me try to put a platform flooring on the top of it. I thought that would just thicken it up. I had done that on another build and it seemed to work, but this time it just simply seemed to fall flat against the floor. So I'm going to delete that and we're just going to move along because, like I said, I had been getting a little bit frustrated with this. It wasn't my first time around trying to mess with this build. So I just figured, let's find some nice windows. I love these. I believe these are not H&M windows, but they're the other 2-story windows that we have. And while they give an industrial vibe, I feel they also are kind of a softer look to them. And I think it really added something to my building. So I'm starting to actually like how this is turning out and I can see its future. And yeah, I think you would agree. It's starting to really look. No. That was my internal monologue. So yes, you experienced a crash and I just did what I said I would never do. I bulldozed the entire lot. I always say I'm not going to do that because, well, you wouldn't do that in real life, but in an angry, foggy-brained, insane moment, that's exactly what I did. In fact, there's this little piece that I couldn't delete and I couldn't build over it or around it. And I'm like, we're just going to pretend it's not there. So here I am. I'm building from the ground up. So now it's become a build video and welcome to my build video. So here is the picture that I'm gaining some inspiration from. I like the idea of having an entryway and two large buildings on either side. And so that's kind of what I'm going with. I'm going to work on the entryway for a second. My usual thought process is you keep the structure how you had it. You don't bulldoze it, because a real company would come in and they would want to not go through the expense of having to bulldoze it. They would want to take it for where it is and keep the bones and work around it, because that's going to save money. And that's always where my head is. Well, after the crash, I went in, and of course there's no auto save. And here was that lot laughing at me. And I just was like, no, we're not doing it again. So anyway, so it's bulldozed, and now we're doing a build video, and I don't care. And so here we are, that in my head, I am raging against the machine. Although one of the things that I did decide to change from the picture that I showed you was it was a very contemporary build with the cool industrial buildings for the Y on either side. I decided, because I have a lot of farms and old houses that I've done in my Uberville, to make this kind of an old house that was renovated. So let's assume that land grabs, who play a large part in doing terrible things to my town, they came in and they took this over. I don't like how this backward roof looks. That's what was on the house. It made a weird shadow, and I was like, the heck with that. Just get rid of it. We're going to put the roof the right way. So you know what my frame of mind was like. So then I'm going to mess with windows. One is too big. The next is too small. The other is too old. So I keep messing with windows until I get it just right. But so anyway, the land grabs, I'm just assuming they came in, they bought the Y, or they donated for their campaign fund, something. And I don't know. This is how it came. And this neat old house was always here. Maybe it was, somebody donated the pool and the house. I don't even know. There was not even a story going in. It was like this burned to the ground, and now we're going from the bottom up. So I'm sure anybody who has ever had something crash after you've already been frustrated with it understands me completely. If not, you are a lucky person. Here, you're going to see me doing the second story for our industrial builds, and I'm trying to add a little bit extra around the house, because I wanted to kind of surround the house like the house is set in there in between the builds. Then I'm going to add the flat black roof and some offsetting trim to these, and that's kind of the simplest thing. I also think that always looks nice. Before you do that, of course, I have to mess with the roof on the middle building, because I just wouldn't be happy unless it was dark and matched the mood that I was in. But in the meantime, even though I was in a mood, everything had to be beautiful and, work in the scheme of light versus dark. So anyway, so here we are, and I think that already you can see the direction I was going in, and it's coming together. So I'm calming down and being a little bit happy. I moved the phone booth because when your taxis park, they park near the phone booth, and I wanted my taxis, or if my people are driving cars, I want them to come down and be in front of the lot. The original color was that light blue, but it didn't work for me. I needed it dark gray to match my mood, so that's what it was. And then I pick a nice light brick with white trim, and I think that offsets it beautifully. And I like that this main house then not only is our focal point, but once we get in here, that's going to be the main office that you're going to come into. That's where I stick the reception desk. The idea is, you're going to come in here, you and your family, this is where you'd get information, memberships, that sort of thing. And then the wings of these big office areas are going to be where we're going to stick the rest of the items. I really did like these black windows from the last building. They add a neat industrial kind of vibe, but they're pretty. And I was one block off over here to make the windows sit perfectly even as we're going down. And then I had a scathingly brilliant idea. You'd probably have a door over there, and because you wouldn't just come in the main door, this is such a big building, that they'd probably have a couple of doors. So I'm going to do it on this side, except I couldn't put a window there because there was a wall. And so I'm going to go in here, and I'm noticing through the windows that somehow I've gotten some trim in here. Oops. So I get rid of that, bust out a couple of walls, and I'm going to be able to put a window in here at exactly where I want it, because there's going to be a door on the other end, just like on the last one. As I'm kind of fiddling around with this and getting my windows to sit properly, of course they have to be even because I wouldn't accept it any other way. I think to myself, oh, maybe a 2-story door would work better. I come across those H&M doors and I feel like they work perfectly. It was like they were made for this build. So I stick them down, and I absolutely love how they look. As I'm going through this, I am getting the ideas that I want, not only just bathrooms and a gym, but I'd like to have a children's area. I'd like to have something for teens. There was something in my head about maybe a spa. That doesn't happen, but it was there. I like putting this other door over here. I actually never really even hardly noticed that path until I put the gray and white, and then it was like it lit up the path over here. You're going to see me put windows now around the rest of the building because, of course, I have to be matchy-matchy, and so that just made me happy to be able to do that. And I think it turned out looking nice. I'm going to go back around to the front to the main building and get the square window that I have in the middle and put those over the smaller doors. And again, I think that just kind of added a level of cohesiveness and pulled the whole renovation kind of together. The outside vibe, I think, looks good. Here you just see me laying down sidewalks because I couldn't be bothered to put shrubbery. It's like I'm not getting into an outdoor renovation at this point because I know I'm going to be coming inside to do some work. I do like a little bit of realism, and so you'll see me adding the air conditioning units and electrical and water around the back. I do later off of screen add air conditioning and heating units because my Sims tend to be affected by the weather because of a mod that I use, and I need that. Here you're going to see me messing around with linoleums for on the floor. I did use, we have this one linoleum that's really yucky and originally was like, oh yeah, this is an old place that's been in Pleasant View forever. And I was like, no, wait a second. We just burned it to the ground and renovated it with the land grabs. So I put a beautiful flooring in here. Here I'm trying to turn the back of the H&M doors black. And when I couldn't find a black one, I'm like, the heck with it. Like, just keep moving. Don't stop. Don't get hung up on this. I was looking for a wallpaper to put in the main office over here. And because it's a pool and it was blue, I'm thinking of blue. I love these Sims 4:2 conversion doors that I stick in here so you can access each of the areas easily. I am going to put a link to where I get these conversions below because somebody had asked me about that in my last video. I do the blue in here, and because the room wasn't cut off, the whole upstairs, the wallpaper ran out and was blue, and I'm like, okay, the heck with it. This whole building is going to be blue. So that's how everything turns blue in the building because I'm just going to keep going and not make myself crazy. But I think I was a little bit crazy already. So anyway, so here you go. I am starting with the office. Like I told you before, we're going to have a desk and a plant and a rug, and it's basically just a nice little area for your Sims to come in and meet with the receptionist. I did end up putting the little bit darker rug in here just because I thought it got a little bit boring. I'm going to put a couple of nondescript couches in here. You know, the kind that you always see in every waiting room that you almost don't notice. I didn't put any file cabinets or things like that in here. I could have gone and found them and downloaded them. I've seen them before, but I didn't do that because anytime we put in custom content, you can always have an issue if it's outdated or something like that. And I thought, let's just keep going with what we have. I know what I have in here right now works. So I thought, let's just do a nice little sparse office and keep moving. And I do think it turned out nice. Just the little plants. I put a couple of signs in there because I thought, you know, maybe it's like, don't leave your children unattended in the pool. Keep your hands and feet inside the closing doors. You know, just cute little things that, whatever, you know, you'd want like warnings and things for that. back here, I decided we needed some bathrooms. I was originally going to do one area that was just bathrooms and one area that was just showers. And then I end up doing a men's and a woman's bathroom. Here you're going to see me throw a curtain up on this window because we don't want anybody peeping in the bathroom. This ends up being the man's bathroom. And then I do the ladies' room. And originally it was too big and I don't like it. You're going to see it in a second. Right here, I'm putting in some nice brown wallpaper or tile that I think worked out really pretty. Here I am with the ladies' room. So in my head, obviously it's usually the ladies who are bringing the kids into the room. And I was thinking changing tables, things like that. Again, they would be things I know I can get, but that I'd have to download. So I go back, I get rid of that, and I do a small bathroom on the other side. It is a little bit bigger than bathroom number one. It has one extra shower and a bunch of extra sinks. And the idea behind that was they probably need a lot of extra sinks. I am going to put the vending machines in here. I'm thinking kids at pools and chocolate. We're going to need some sinks. Let the kids wash off. So you see me do that right now with the showers, and I put a little divider between them. And then we're going to do a bunch of sinks here because I'm thinking, you know, sticky fingers. I want the kids to come in here and then have fun. And, you know, it's just going to be a basic, I don't know, generic. Generic is the word I'm looking for. Sometimes I lose my entire train of thought. I put these trophies over there because I'm thinking I could do a trophy room in the gym. And then by the time I got to the gym, I'm like, no, there's going to be no trophies. It's the lie. Nobody gets a trophy. There's no love for anybody here. So I come up here and I put a couch down at the end of this hall for anybody who just might need to come and have a moment of relaxation. And I'm looking out here and I'm thinking I wanted to find some lockers. And I know somewhere I probably have Spa Day from the Sims 4 lockers, but then I came across the Sims 2 lockers and I thought they're cute. Good enough. It is a Y. I'm trying to come across as that family friendly, kind of cute. You know, you want your kids to feel comfortable here too. And that's really probably who's going to use it more than anybody is families. So that's how I was decorating it. And now you're going to see me put a couple of vending machines. I always love how they glow, especially at night, like coming out of the windows at night. It was really cute. I do put a couple of light switches in here and think I'm going to do that in every room. And I forget, I never come back and do it. Over here, I decided for teens, the best thing to do for teens was to put an arcade. And so I think that that's a great idea because what else could you do with your teens? They can come in here. I later put a speaker in here with heavy metal music, and this is your best place for teens to go. It's not very big. I was going to paint it all black and maybe like put black curtains on the windows and things like that. And then I thought, no, probably with these big windows, it'd probably be a little bit bright in here for the games. But then at the same time, it's supposed to be kind of the Y, family friendly. So I just put a bunch of posters, like rock posters, the alien posters, the things you usually get in Sims 2. I didn't have any special downloads or anything for this. You'll see me sticking that together here. I do then put the glowy green light because anytime I've ever been in a cool arcade, there's neat green lights and that sort of stuff. And you can see it even glowing on the outside. I just threw down a couple of chandeliers for NRY. I think that was probably a little bit more upscale than what I should have done, but I don't think I was really thinking. I'm in a groove at this point and nothing was going to stop me except maybe another crash, in which you do see me saving a bunch of times because I wasn't going to be stopped. Here I'm doing a kids area. I feel like in The Sims 2, other than maybe playgrounds and things, we don't have a lot going on for our children. So here I'm going to do a nice size play area so that if it's raining or the families come here close to the fall, they would have some place to bring their children into. You see, I do put a couple of toddler things down, but I would never bring a toddler here. Toddlers give me the hives, and I do play with them, but everybody stays at home until the toddler becomes a child. You just stop your whole life in my builds. In my game, not my builds. You stop your whole game. I can't even talk properly. If you have a baby or a toddler, my poor Sims have no life. God forbid they have several children. So here I decided it needed a rug. So I changed the room to yellow. It's the only room with a different color. And I put a rug because I feel that, you know, you want your kids to be playing on a nice carpeted floor. I put some fun little rugs around. I'm just trying to give it that kind of lovely child vibe. I did think after I saw this in the playback that maybe I could come in here and put like some hanging things on the walls and make it a little bit more cute. But for now, I think it works really well. You're going to see it at the end in the live mode. And we have one of Don Lothario's kids, if you're into lore. He had 3 children. He married the maid and she's dead, but she died in childbirth. And so he's stuck with the 3 girls. And she just loved it. This little girl, she just ran right in there. So here we are. I'm putting things down in the gym. And this is our last room that we're going to do. And it ended up being a nice big gym. So your Sims can come in here. They can work out. They can meet each other. They can watch TV. Don's oldest daughter, who's a teenager, she was in here watching TV as soon as they came. And I'm just throwing mirrors up because obviously I'm from the 80s, a teenager of the 80s, and you'd want to look at your muscles. So now I'm going to spend a crazy amount of time looking for the right music to stick in here. So the gym and the arcade have 2 different musics, and there's the same music the rest of the way around. It is a little nutty when you're in here, but I think it worked out pretty nice. So once I finish doing all of these different crazy musics, and I find the heavy metal and I throw it in the arcade for the teens, I'm going to kind of take a quick look around and I look at the outside. We don't want to get involved in an outdoor renovation. I do want to get rid of the grill because I don't want my Sims grilling at the Y, and I think we need a hot tub. So I'm going to throw a hot tub down and move a couple of lights. I do think we maybe need some outdoor lights in the back. We do have all the cool street lamps in the front, which will come on in the evening when you're playing the game. They, of course, don't come on when you're building. So right now, as I go to night mode, they won't come on, but we're going to put some lights around the doors so we don't have our Sims tripping if they're here swimming in the evening. And so we want our doors nice and lit up. I am going to come around to the front. Of course, like I said, the street lights aren't on. I didn't add lights to the front, and maybe I should have. But the one thing, of course, I wanted was my favorite sign. I mentioned this in my last video that you'll have to check out. And this is my favorite all-time sign. It lights up at night, and any sign that lights up at night just makes me happy. And I wanted to use this sign from the minute I saw it with this little swimmy guy. And I swear it was the only reason I even powered through this video. And here we are, looking beautiful. But from the outside, I could see that these walls did not go all the way through to the ceiling. It just, you could see that from the outside. So I'm going to put all the walls up to the second story. I didn't go back and go crazy and put all the different colors in, because I guess I had one room that's yellow and then the bathrooms. Everything's just blue. Like I said, a lot of that was between frustration, and by this point I was just tired. I may go back and change that eventually, but you know, I just wanted to kind of get it done. And here we are, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I love how it looks, and you're going to get a quick shot of the back, and let's go see what it looks like live. Here we are back with live mode, and you've got Don here. He's an elder playing with his youngest daughter. He's got one of the other daughters in the kids' room, and we've got his teen was watching television, and you can see it's up and it's working. And there we are on a lovely fall day, and that was our outing at the Sims pool. So I've got some stills for you. I want to thank you so much. It was fun talking to you, and I hope you have happy simming, and bye-bye.